Let's see what we should not play for you.
Okay.
I'm going to take a guess and say
Hey,
something.
Vicky. This is Abhishek.
Hey.
I just want to ask you, very interested to know that as actors, there's always one or several genres that really terrify us, that we feel that we can't do justice to, but still we want to kind of like tick it off our bucket list. Keeping in mind the variety of work that you do and you continue to do, I really want to know is, do you have that one genre that really scares you? And if it is something that really terrifies you, is your approach to it that you want to do it and conquer it, or do you just stay away from it? So as a co-artist and as a big fan of yours, I really want to know, what is that one genre that scares you?
I'm actually currently shooting for a film which is in the horror genre. Before this, comedy was the genre that used to really scare me because I feel, comedy is that one sur. Either you get it right or you're completely off it. But horror is, I think, the trickiest genre to play with, which I didn't know, which I'm learning as I'm shooting for this film. Because when you're doing an emotional scene or a dramatic scene, you know that you've hit an honest note somewhere down the line. In comedy also you feel that. Either you've missed it or you've hit that note. But in horror, you always play acting. Yeah. You always play acting and you're always imagining. Okay, this is the ghost, or this is what we have to imagine, and then there's going to be a team of VFX which is actually going to create what you gave that reaction to. And then there's movement, and then you have to create your own world. And all those elements are coming into play. So this is something that I was not prepared for. That, okay, it's always going to be that play act. I'm always going to know that I'm going to give this scare moment. I'm always going to know that I am walking normally, and then there's going to be a sudden sound at the back to which I have to react, which didn't actually happen, which I have to imagine and take that cue myself and then do that. And then also imagine the intensity of it. That could be created later, but that intensity might not match the intensity that I had kept in my head. So all of that is a very tricky space. So I really would want to explore it soon ahead. Not immediately, but soon ahead, and then use this experience of mine into that and then take it forward. So I guess it's horror now.
Yeah, I do agree that sounds like the toughest genre ever.
I'm going to pick up self. Okay.
In the last 2 years, you've emerged as a mature and confident individual who can hit it out of the park with a role like Babita Kumari in Zero. What enabled you to reach this place?
I think what life brings to you, what life throws at you, pretty much everything that I imagined could not happen, happened.
Okay.
All the things that you imagine, this should not happen, this should not happen, the things you try and guard and protect and keep, those were all the things that I was trying to focus on so much and protecting and keeping were all the things that disintegrated or, did not work out or went away. And then I think it's that moment where you kind of are faced with everything you feared and you realize that it's not so bad. It's like it's like
you had overhyped in your own
yeah,
head.
I think that's what fear is, right? Fear is mostly just an illusion. It's never really, unless the actual ghost in your horror film comes in front of you, it's never really that the thing that you fear is that bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't realize it at all until later, and then you realize before you know it, you're in this whole kind of structure of something, and it's not purely just creative, and it's not purely just your work. It's kind of all convoluted, and then when that kind of disintegrates, then you kind of come back to, after the unsettling phase, you come back to a place then again of feeling really fearless and not having so many kind of rules for yourself and so many things that you're living under. And I think with that kind of came for me a new, kind of a renewed interest and excitement in what I was doing at my work. Because I think for me, I went through a phase of, it's kind of like what you said, where I feel that when you're on set and when you're working, it consumes everything of you. I think there's very, very little left for anything and anyone else. And if you don't really have everything to give, then I think you're going to be weak in those films or in that period of time. So I think just trying to find where is it that you feel that, oh, this is a place where I feel good about myself and I feel good being here.
But did that happen while you were playing Babita, or did that happen before and then you got into Babita?
For that particular role, I think Anand Rai was super, for Zero, he was always sure he wanted me to do that. Like, he came to me about 2.5 years before the film started.
Wow.
And so at that point, I was supposed to do both the roles.
Oh, okay.
It was a double role. And when he came back to me, I was like, Anand, sir, you took away half my role. so we were like at loggerheads for a while, like, you know, in the nicest possible way. I was like, Anand, sir, no, this. And he explained me his vision. He explained to me the way his vision had kind of changed. And of course, I think he's one of the best directors we have. And he was so clear and precise, you know, that he was like, you're going to find it if you just, you know, if you just submit yourself to this process,
surrender completely.
You're going to find it. It was a really hard process though, because when you're coming on set and you're supposed to be drunk and brokenhearted and really distraught at a really low, you're vulnerable, you're at a loss, you feel very unhappy, and you don't have that, you know, your self-esteem is not on the highest thing, and you're drunk. And I didn't want that to look fake. And you can't really fake that. I mean, it's tough. It's tough if you're just gonna completely just be out there to kind of switch it on and off.
Right.
So when we used to come on set, there used to be like an hour and a half that me and Anand sir would just sit and talk.
Wow.
Sometimes it was about something related to what we were doing. Sometimes it wasn't. But he always knew, you know, that's the brilliance of a good director.
What nerve to touch.
Yeah. He always knew which road to kind of push me down, like kind of gently, and then kind of just let it play out. The only tough thing was, because of the CG, there was long periods between each shot. So let's say, you know, they're doing, say, even from a mid to a profile, sometimes that could be like hours. I think out of everything I've done recently, that was something which really excited me. Like, it was really fun to do that.
Do you think also because it became like kind of an outlet for you to express what you have inside, to just do it through a character? Because that sometimes happens with me, and I really like juice it out, because I just have this garb of playing a character, but I really want to like...
For me now, I've kind of understood it in a different way now, which perhaps I kind of had a different way of approaching things earlier. But now I feel that whatever it is, I personalize it in a very, very real way to me on my level. So it doesn't matter if something is sad, how is it sad to me personally from that lens. But I also just like the freedom. I like the freedom that he wanted. I like that incorrectness of everything. I just like that thing of, because also you're drunk, it also just allowed you to kind of just not have to do everything the right way. And that was...
Yeah, be imperfect.
Yeah, that for me was just the most liberating experience.
Yeah.
That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna pick one of these for you. This one is industry.
Okay.
What have you learned about things one shouldn't do from the artists around you?
That's a great one.
Firstly, it's taking yourself as an actor too seriously and creating like this atmosphere that, oh my God, there's this serious actor on set who needs like, you know, this kind of this isolated space on set, which actually kind of is a disruption to people around him or her doing their own jobs on set. You know, sometimes, I mean, you also have to take this into consideration that it's not only you who's making this film. It's a team of 200 people coming together and making this film. It could be that light man sitting in that one corner at 20 feet height in that room. Also, because of worked with amazing actors, Ranbir, Alia, Sanjay Mishra ji, and they are so good with their lines, man. They are so good with their lines. I mean, that's what I've realized, that the magic that happens, that when you're just so prepared with your lines on set, that's amazing. So I guess, yeah, these two that are coming to my mind right now.
What's the question, things you learned that you should not do?
Yeah, should not do. So I shouldn't be ill-prepared with my lines when I come on set. Like that's what I meant, yeah.
But I wouldn't think that you're ill-prepared. I wouldn't think you've ever come on set without really knowing your script like backwards.
Yeah, but see, as an actor, what I tend to do is also, I don't really mug up my lines in terms of exact words of those lines. What I do is, I try to mug up the thought process of the character. Why is it that he's saying this line and then he shifts to that line? So if I know the thought, I will never forget the line. And even if that helps me improvise also, because I know the thought. So it helps me say something from my end also. But sometimes that is not the requirement of the character or not the space that that film is in. Like, for example, Razi was not that. Razi, in terms of that script, you had to say exactly the words that were written on the script. Because anything away from that would just change the soul of that character, you know, the space of that scene. So that's what I realized, yeah.
So I think that now that we, well, I think we got through. We did not too bad. We got through a fair amount. This is what's called the end tape. So I'm assuming that there's going to be like some sort of judgment of what we've done, maybe.